But he said, just like D-Wade did it, and D-Wade chimed in. Look at him right there. I jumped on my kitchen table after you hit that shot, bro. LeBron also chimed in and said he predicted that winner from Jalen. And Patrick Mahomes with the tweet, "Are you kidding me?" Echoing the sentiments of all of us as well. Nick, I'll start with you. What was the best part of a Gonzaga's win, do you think?
Well, the best part was this shot and the block and pass sequence Suggs had earlier, because that guarantees that Jalen Suggs lives on in some form forever. I'm not sure this Gonzaga team will. If they win tonight, they will, obviously, but I'm not so sure they're going to win tonight. And even if they win tonight, I know they'll be the first undefeated team in 45 years, but they're not going to be considered one of the true greatest teams in the history of college basketball. But this will be considered one of the greatest moments in the history of college basketball after one of the greatest games in recent tournament history. And the other part of this that it's so special is because it was this player, the best recruit Gonzaga's ever had, a guy who I believe is going to make an all-star team or two or three or four in his NBA career. And we don't have a lot of our star players in the league anymore that have great tournament moments. Steph obviously did. Melo obviously did. Anthony Davis did. But KD didn't. KD wasn't his fault. Rick Barnes was his coach, and so they only went as far as they did. Giannis, Luka, LeBron never went to college. Nikola Jokic never went to college. We don't have a lot of the through line of amazing collegiate tournament performance and moment to great pro career. And I think Suggs, who's going to be a top 3 pick of the upcoming draft, has a chance for that. So, Brandon, from the block to the pass to the game winner to the celebration, it all is just, crusting towards tonight's game. And no matter what happens in tonight's game, we will see this shot forever. And I think we're going to see Jalen Suggs in highlights for the next 15 years. So that's exciting for me, Brandon.
Right, and that's the answer. Everything you just said, it was all of it. If you follow Gonzaga all year, you knew they were just whooping teams left and right. I mean, I think they beat every team besides one team by double digits. This was a sensational game, and obviously, like you just said, we're only going to remember this shot. But this game had 19 lead changes. This was the type of game that kept you on your feet. This is the type of game that you would pay for. Like, if this was a pay-per-view game, you would pay for it. It was that good, Nick. It was that good. Wilds absolutely loved it. And obviously, we're going to continue to see this big shot. But, Nick, you talked about it. 2 minutes left in the game. We're talking about Jalen Suggs. He runs down the court and blocks a big. Dude, Cody Riley is 6'10". He goes down there, slaps his stuff, and then he keeps it in bounds and throws a sensational pass, Wilds, for a dunk. They could have went down 2. They went up 2, and that was a defining moment in the game. And unfortunately, we won't talk about it enough. We won't see that highlight enough, Wilds.
Oh, the block? Yeah, well, I'm just really, so far we've gotten through one part of the show without Nick saying one of the best blocks since LeBron James. We'll see if we can go the whole show, everybody. Stay tuned. Go to Fox Bet. You can make some bets whether or not you're going to say it. Over-under is at 0.5, so we'll see what happens. Kind of nerdy, Nick, but I like that Mark Few didn't call a timeout there. Too often, I think, especially in the college game, coaches get in like, oh, timeout. But Mark Few had a total confidence in his team. And it's something that you mentioned, which I thought was fascinating. They won 27 straight games by 10 points or more. Their average point differential in the last 2 years is 21. So, Nick, they are not used to playing close games. But rather than getting tight, I think that has fostered a confidence in them, not only with the team, but also Mark Few's like, go ahead, go out there and play. I want to push back on you a little bit, though. Why don't you think, or it didn't seem like you're willing to say that this will be one of the best college teams ever, even if they go undefeated? Why?
Oh, well, let me respond to the timeout thing real quick, and then I'll answer that. Listen, we very often, if the shot's made, we're happy they did or didn't call a timeout. The last shot like this in college basketball history of this magnitude, Chris Jenkins for Jay Wright and Villanova, they obviously did call timeout after North Carolina hit the three. He made the shot, so we say good timeout by Jay Wright. But I agree with you. In the flow of it, it seems like it worked out, even though it ended up being a leaning, jumping 40-footer that banked in. But the reason I won't consider this one of the greatest teams ever is because flatly, it's not. Like the UNLV teams were better, the Leitner Duke teams were better, Antoine's Kentucky team that had 9 pros on it were better. You pick 5 separate UCLA teams that were better. I think the Anthony Davis Kentucky Wildcats team were better. So I understand, like, I just listed all those teams. I didn't include the last team to go undefeated, the 76 Hoosiers. That was a really, really good team that happened to go undefeated. The 75 Hoosiers were probably better than the 76 Hoosiers. So and by the way, I'm not convinced Gonzaga wins tonight. But if they do win tonight, they'll have the designation of the last team to go undefeated. Right. But I think people that watch college hoops understand the era is so different that it doesn't really stack up as far as pros on the roster, even though I think Gonzaga's probably got 4 pros, to some of the greatest teams in history, even if this is one of the greatest seasons in history, Brandon.
Right, and to your point, man, you can't go down as one of the greatest teams if you don't win tonight. And Nick, I know you love betting, and what's that term you guys use? A pick'em. Like, that's what tonight's going. I mean, that's what that game, this championship, is going to be about between Baylor and Gonzaga. It's going to be a pick'em, man. Those guards are fast. They play great defense, so they're going to have another great test for them when they face Baylor. But I do want to say this, man. UCLA, what a wonderful run they had, Cinderella run, and it came down to the last moment, Jenna. We're talking about you hit a big shot, and then all of a sudden you don't get back on defense. It is a brutal loss for UCLA and Coach Cronin, who did a phenomenal job all year getting this team in position, and it came down to this moment. Look at this. Boom. You get the rebound, you put it back in. Get back on defense. All you got to do is get back on defense. Nobody's playing defense. He took 3 dribbles and then drains a 40-footer. Come on, Geno. Jeez. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.